Greetings, traders, and thanks for joining with us here on this Wednesday for our seminar today, which will be very brief. It'll be about 45 minutes on the Boomerang Day Trader and the Day Traders Action services that we provide for traders who want to make money. So getting started, before we do, let me first of all point out the risk disclosure statement that we always like to make sure traders are well aware of, and that is that futures trading is very risky and only risk capital should be used to trade the futures market, and that is defined by the CFTC in their risk disclosure as money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security, lifestyle, and I like to add in their sanity, because a lot of traders are a little bit kooky. They trade with money. They violate this rule even though they see it, and they trade with money they cannot afford to lose, and they become a little bit crazy. So we like to say risk capital, money can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security, lifestyle, or sanity. Don't do dumb things. Trade with money. This is for rich people or for people who generally have a lot of extra money that they consider to be capital that they can lose without jeopardizing any of those three things I mentioned. So great to see you, and thanks for joining with us today. We have an exciting, rather brief webinar planned today because I'm going to go over some very vital things for showing you one key thing, and that is everything we focus on in our Day Traders Action Live services, which is making money. Now here's this shows here our services here, daytradersaction.com. That's the Mohan's Day Traders Action Precision Trading Services. These are our partners here, NinjaTrader, eSignal, and we work with a lot of different wonderful companies that have sponsored me to write articles and do things like that, which is great, and we really appreciate all of that. Now, I've been around a long time, 30 years trading in the industry, and here's a picture of me. I think it's pretty important. I kind of keep this posted here to show people what I'm going to show you now for the next few minutes, and that is that we're the real thing. We are somebody you can rely on to help you make money. That's the first thing I want to say, is that the most important thing and the number one thing, the only purpose of trading the futures markets, or any market for that point, but especially the high-speed, fast futures market and our services, is to make money and attempt to do that every day, which is mathematically impossible. However, as far as I've heard from being around in the industry, we are the number one trading room in terms of profit and the lowest cost in the industries, and we have a record of 83 winning days in a row on one stretch. We have a lot of 10 and 20 day winning stretches, but our goal, we don't make money every day, and no one can certainly guarantee that, and we certainly don't guarantee that. It's ridiculous. Everybody knows you can't do that. However, even though it's practically mathematically impossible, we do have steady winning days in our room, and we have that with Boomerang Day Trader, which I'm going to show you today. So I have these two services. I have my Trading Live with Mohan room, and we also have my software, which is Boomerang Day Trader. It's been around a long time, almost 10 years now. It's proven with thousands of users around the world who just love Boomerang and are so grateful. I get grateful emails all the time about how well they do with Boomerang and how much they like it. But here in this seminar, this is back before we had webinars. Don't you love webinars? You can just stay home and learn all the information. But I had put on this seminar with my partners, and I was the only presenter, and we had over 320 traders fly in from around the world, spend money to stay at the Marriott on the ocean down there in Boca Raton, Florida, and we also had over a dozen floor traders, many of them which I talked to, who pointed out the other ones that were there, and we had about 20 brokers. So to get brokers, especially to fly in and spend money and stay at a hotel and spend 2 days listening to somebody talk about methodology and everything, it shows you that they took me pretty serious in the phenomena that I had created with our daily directional forecast newsletter. Now I still continue that newsletter, and I do it though now in the form of my Day Traders Action Live room. We were well known for calling the exact direction of the next day's market in advance the day before with about an 80% accuracy. Now, because of the tremendous amount of rigging that's going on in the markets and everything, and we'll talk about that in a second, I do that through the live room with our morning opening briefing about the underlying bias, and throughout the day we kind of monitor the things that are happening that might affect that. We had a classic example of that today, but I'll go over that in a minute. Our theme for the room is basically, what if you could go to work in the morning for 2 to 3 hours, have the rest of the day off, a 3-day weekend every week, and best of all, make up to $300 to $1,000 a day on a very small trading account. You don't need a 100 grand trading account to do that on a small trading account. Small, by that I mean like $4, $5 to $8,000, and always having a couple extra $1,000 kept to keep your business running. Yes, that's right. This is a business just like any other business. You have investments in the business like you're doing now. You're investing your time to see if this is something that might be good for you. If you decide you want to trade the futures, we have my live Day Traders Action room where we have many bonus features there, including trading crude oil on my Boomerang Day Trader software, which I'll go over in a minute. It's a free additional bonus where I teach you how to read Boomerang, which is very easy to do. It's a 4-step simple method, and once you learn that method, you can trade right off our charts after practicing on either a simulator, or you can just draw horizontal lines in the chart. That's what we're going to show you how to do. It's a free bonus feature of my room. By the way, the room is only $149 a month, the lowest cost in the industry with the most bonus features. Our ongoing steady winning trades on mini NASDAQ. This is a NASDAQ chart here. And again, I'll talk about all the details of that. But I just want to quickly say I use 5 different trade setups for mini NASDAQ. I do not use the Boomerang method, but I use a chart in here as an indicator for my other screens where I have other indicators, but I use a Boomerang chart, and many times the trades that I do will land right into a Boomerang type trade. Boomerang Day Trader is beautiful. It works on crude oil. We have a proven every day live in the room. We track it up to 90% winning trades on crude oil. Absolutely astounding. I can practically assure you that there is no other system in the entire industry, especially one like mine that's been around for 10 years, that has that type of a long-term proven track record of up to 90% winning trades on the crude oil market. I say crude oil, what about other markets? Well, it works beautiful on NASDAQ, as you'll see soon. Works great on ES, gold, silver, all stock indexes, which right now, and we'll talk about this in a minute, are incredibly highly rigged. So you have to be a little more careful trading the stock indexes. That's why I deploy 4 or 5 other methods where I can pick off some of these topping areas up in here, and not this one. I'll explain this in a minute. But along with that, we also have our daily underlying bias readings, which are extremely accurate, and constant updates on those as we place trades in the market. So if this is of interest to you, you can go to daytradersaction.com, and just under the section that says Trading Live with Mohan, and you can ask yourself, why would over a dozen floor traders fly in for a seminar on their weekend off from working hard every day trading on the floor back when that was really the big thing? Or brokers, especially 20 brokers flying in from Chicago, many who knew each other, were competitors and stuff like that. Why would they come in to see Mohan? And again, this seminar was approximately 12, 13 years ago. So, hey, like anything in life, the more you show up for work and do it, the better you get. So I'm just trying to show you some tremendous opportunities to come in and follow our idea, which is to make money every day if possible. And usually we do it at least on one of our contracts, most of the days on both of them, on crude oil, which we trade using the Boomerang signals, and on the mini NASDAQ, which are based on 4 or 5 proprietary setups that I use, which I don't teach in the room, but you can benefit from those signals. Now, again, You can also go to that site, daytradersaction.com, find Trading Live with Mohan, and for just 39 bucks, a mere pittance, you can join the room and you can start your subscription for $39, and that's all it'll cost you for the first 2 weeks. After that, the regular subscription will kick in at 149 bucks a month, which is absolute peanuts. And the reason is we make in the room an average of 3 to 5 times the $149 that you pay for 1 month every day. That's our average. So if that sounds like a too good to be true deal, well, maybe you're not meant to be in the trading field. I've made it too good to be true for the purpose of helping traders who are new. We specialize in new traders with small accounts, but we have many traders who are larger size traders with larger size accounts. Another exciting element of our room is we also offer select stock and ETF picks. I had 3 of them the last 2 days, and we have had, this is going to shock you if you've ever been in various stock picking newsletters, things like that. We have had 95% winning stock ETF picks. We also occasionally put on directional options and, on rare occasion, penny stocks. One of those I have now is up over 350% in just a month, and I'm actually waiting for it to be up potentially as much as 3,000%, along with the other 2, both of which are up. But like anything, anytime you buy a stock, you have to have a lot of patience, because I'm not day trading penny stocks or anything. I'm buying these that you buy them and hold them. And so we got a lot of great bonus features in our room, and I hope you might be willing to take advantage of that and join us and come into the action, see what it's like. So there's the site there, and you can scroll down. You can watch a video about the room and about my, you can see me trade live in the room. It's a recording of the room. All I got's a NASDAQ chart up here. We actually made 3 winning trades while I was narrating about the room. So you can learn all about what it's exactly like being in a room simply by watching this video. You can watch me make 3 live trades, 3 scalps. But we do also have, you'll be happy to know, in addition to all the proof I've given you that I am the real deal and that our only goal is to make money, and perhaps you can benefit from that, is we also have a YouTube channel with many, many recordings of the room that you can watch. They're just taken live from the room, and you can watch those trades as I execute them. Now, some of these are swing trades. A lot of people, wonder, oh, the big move. You see, the beginners will often, I'll get in a move and scalp 4 points, and it'll go 10 points further, and beginners will think, oh, we coulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda held. Again, that's amateurs talk in the brain, and I'm going to help you get over that amateur talk and show you how to be a professional. But when a swing trade, what I call a swing trade is, which is any NASDAQ trade that's over 10 points sets up, that is looking for a larger scale move. Now, I just spontaneously turn on the recorder whenever I feel like it. I got another one pending from the other day, but I just, I get to them when I can. I don't spend a lot of time marketing or trying to promote our services, but I do a regular, normal amount for running a business. I mean, why have a business if you're not going to promote it, right? We get a lot of word of mouth and everything, but just to give you an example, this is a recent 2-week audit of crude oil trades, and I'll talk about that in a minute. It showed 95% winning trades. This is a recent 2-week period. More on that later, but right here, 12.5 point gain, 11.5 point gain, 1275, 22 points. We do catch the larger scale moves. Here's a stubborn, what I call a crunch trade, where they're just hanging up and then hit them. They actually did that today, who I call the riggers, the Federal Reserve market riggers. It's a whole story. If you come in the website, you'll learn the story. If you don't know that by now, that they're rigging the markets, the U.S. stock index in particular, please don't trade the U.S. stock indexes. Trade the crude oil or something that more of a real contract, which again I'll show you more in a minute. A lot of this is just unreality. Look at that. Right after the exact close, then all of a sudden, mysteriously, the
Order
market
pending.
sells off exactly to where they ramped them up from. Gee, how did that happen, I wonder? Right to where they ramped them up from, they sold off almost exactly that same spot. Again, more on that in a second. So here's our room answer again, period, and I will go over exact recordings from exactly from the live room. Now, you'll see it live. Some are boring because they're long, because a swing trade isn't going to happen in 5 or 10 minutes. Sometimes you're sitting there and you're watching the thing grind. I'm just trying to make a point that we do swing trades, mostly scalps in the room. Here's a scalp for 750. To me, a scalp is 3 to 5 points. And I've been doing a lot of those lately because this market honestly scares the crap out of me. The rigging is off the charts. We had a down market earlier, right? The market was down 80 points, whatever like that. And here's the close on the Dow. Look at this. You got to be kidding me. Up 172. Well, the fact is that the transportation index was leading the pack. You can see up 2.30%. So rightfully, that kind of lifted everything up. NAS was down to flat to lower, but somehow or other, the transportation index was up, and they pulled that whole market up towards the end of the close. It was artificial. I can almost assure you of that. But one thing that you'll find to be really unbelievable is this, what I'm showing you right here, which we'll talk about. Anyway, if you want really exact, precise market analysis, live scalp winning trades, and everything, check out my Day Traders Action Live room. It won't cost you much at all to come in and hang out with us for a while, get in the action, but make sure and come early because we only trade for about an hour to 2 hours a day. And during that period, again, back to my theme I mentioned to you originally, we're only here for one single purpose, and that is to make money. I don't need your money. I got plenty of my own, but I'm running this room, and as long as I'm doing that, I'm going to stay committed to it as a businessman, a trader, and someone who offers, sells, if you will, day trading signals. That's what I do. I offer day trading signals, two types, live that are called out, swing trade scalps, scalps and swing trades, and Boomerang Day Trader, which I'll show you in a minute. Now we got, just to show you how tremendous, here's some 5-pointers, 9 points, a lot of trades on here. I just turn the recorder on and record them, and then I upload them to YouTube. Again, I don't maintain it that much. This was some weird historic day that happened on 11/10/2016. We'll probably never see it again. I thought I died, went to heaven. The market was swinging like the good old days, like it used to prior to 2004. They go up, they go down. I'll show you how they do that on crude oil every day, but just had a tremendous day that day. Don't expect that anymore. If we ever get those days back again, I'll be totally shocked. Happy and shocked, but I don't expect it. We had 2 scalps in this day. A lot of 30-point days, 25-point days. All kinds of trades. Now look at that. It keeps going and going, doesn't it? See, we got a huge library, so you can see plenty of proof. Because I know a lot of you, I know the rip-offs that are out there and the con artists who, say, oh, we made this much, and they don't have any way of proving it. So we got all those tools for you if that's a concern. So right now what I'd like to show you, first of all, just quickly getting back to this NASDAQ thing here. You have to ask yourself, now there is some argument that we're in a, quote, melt up. And I don't think that that's necessarily impossible. But all I'm trying to say right here, I'm going to squish this chart up a minute, don't mind. But all I'm saying is, how do you go from such a heavy down market like we had this morning, and a market that desperately needs to sell off? It's so overbought according to my indicators, which we use to trade options and give daily market readings with great success. How is it that this market goes from being down, this is NASDAQ here, to just getting goosed up to the moon here? And at this point, they had already goosed it off the lows tremendously. You can see this was the first hour of trading. And then all of a sudden, you can never catch this because you don't know. I mean, we have ways of catching these moves within here, but the whole thing, who would know that they're going to goose it like this? So they take it and they jam and jam and jam, and just when you think, okay, now we're going to have a normal, natural pullback, for God's sakes, someday, well, they ramp it up again. They start pulling it back, and that's why I drew this yellow line here, because look at this. I'm just trying to show you a little proof of what I'm saying. They jam and jam, little micro pullbacks and more insane upside goosing, and then right after, exactly when the market, the US Dow and the New York Stock Exchange closes, futures markets are still open. Gee, all of a sudden there's all this selling just massively piling on. Is that fair? I ask you, is that fair to the investors, or the, heaven forbid, the futures traders, or the call option buyers in here that just said, that's it, I'm throwing in the towel? I mean, that's usually the amateurs do that, but they threw in the towel here and said, oh my God, it's just, we can't, the market's going to keep going on, and they bought. Is that fair, I ask you? And I don't mind if it pulls back and slowly works its way lower, but is that fair that that can happen? Where they go right from the prime goosing spot, where they jammed them to the moon here, and instead of making a pullback much lower, they pulled them back very slightly. That's why I drew this yellow line, and look at that. Jammed them all this way up into the final 2 hours, hour and a half, only to drop the thing all the way back in one fell swoop. Looks at the time on your 1305. To give all this back, I'm just going to go from this candle, this green candle right here, 1303 my time. That's 1 o'clock, or it's 4 o'clock New York time. 1303. Let's see down on the bottom there the time, and here's the bottom, 1307. You got to be kidding me. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. This whole artificial fake ramp up given back in 4 minutes. You just have to think about that a minute. Soak that in. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to try to trade the U.S. stock indexes, Mohan warned you today, be careful. Come in my room. It's very low cost. I'm not trying to sell you or gouge you for anything like I know a lot of the people out there are. The max our service will cost you is $149 a month after 2 weeks, which is just chicken feed to come in and learn all the things I'm showing you now that you probably never even knew. And we make 3 to 5 times that $149 subscription fee every day. I can't give you a better deal than that. I really can't, unless I just say that's it, the room's free from now on. And then of course you get flooded with thousands of subscribers. But that's another issue. That's a psychological issue. It's like you won't pay $39 to come in and learn how to trade, but you want to keep pretending that you know how to trade and just winging it and guessing at the market and losing so much money. I'm trying to be a friend here and say, come on in. I've made it really low cost so that you can come in here and make some real money with us by trading. And we're not in the room hanging out all day. It's not boring. It's 2 hours of pretty high speed excitement, to be honest with you. We were done today trading, by the way. Again, our target goal every day, I'll just finish this up and then we'll go over to Boomerang, and then we'll be done in about half an hour with the presentation. And then any questions you have, you can feel free to ask. We were done today. I had 3 trades that we did. One of them I deliberately called what I call a volunteer trade. I said I rank my trades 1 through 10, 10 being as low risk as possible, 5 being about medium to lower risk or higher risk. And I try to trade trades that in my brain I immediately rank as 7 or higher. Well, this one was a 5. So trade number 3, I then dubbed it as a volunteer trade, which panned out. We had 4 winning trades today. Plus 4 points on NASDAQ. Plus 4, plus 1, plus 4, and plus 4. That's 13 points. Now keep in mind, mini NASDAQ trades at $20 a point. 9 points is a lot of money. Why? Because I'm not basing it on one contract. I got to tell you honestly, if all you ever plan on trading is one contract in the futures business, you might as well just hang it up now. You've got to come in with a very strong Rambo gung-ho attitude, not foolish attitude, but a strong attitude. Just like when, if you remember that movie Rambo, where they captured him in a prison in the jungle, you have to have determination that I'm going to get the hell out of here somehow. I'm going to get out of here, right? It's kind of that type of drive. You got to come into this business knowing I'm going to work my way up to small size from one contract. At least in my room, I encourage everybody to give you all the tools to trade four. So on mini NAS, 9 points was a $664 paycheck after commissions. That's not including crude oil, which is a free bonus part of our room. But it's pretty hard if you're busy trade my NAS signals to get the crude oils, but a lot of our traders do. Sometimes they deploy a family member. they get one of their son or their daughter to come in. Hey, come here now. When this does this, you push this button. When this does this, you put this. Or they'll do the crude oil and they'll have when Mohan comes on here and says buy at the market, you push the buy button. When he says sell, you push the sell. When he says cover the trade or clip the trade, means just clip it out of it, knock it out, exit at the market, and do that. Anyway, we do this very, very steadily and regularly, and we'll show you that. So again, with all this crazy stuff going on with the rigging and all that, welcome to the wonderful world of futures trading. That's the mini NASDAQ. Let me show you on crude oil. And again, I don't teach my method in the room on the mini NASDAQ because I'm deploying 5 different types of trade setups. It's a little bit complex, and I have different names for them: crunch trades, exhaustion reversals, and then the main premise. So I'll tell you this: the main premise of Boomerang, it works on a one principle. Each trade is based on one principle, and that's why I have to deploy other methods in the mini NAS if we're going to get out of that room in a couple hours and make that paycheck. That's our sole focus. I am not going to hang out in the room all day trying to pick off trades and expose us to massive risk, because you got to use wider stops in this mini NASDAQ. It is so volatile. So anyway, the point is, on crude oil, Boomerang works on crude oil on this premise and on other contracts, and indeed it works beautiful on mini NASDAQ. It's just that nowadays it's so volatile. You have to deploy a wider stop, whereas on crude oil we have a method that our average stop is 3 to 6 ticks, which is a very small amount. Crude oil trades in $10 per tick, and we go in. It's a scalp system. It's long time proven with an up to 95% winning trades. That's what our audit just recently showed. And I'll show you where you can access a recording of that audit and see it with your own eyes. I'll go over some of the trades today to show you that, but I'll show you the method. We train this method 3, 4, 5 times a day. It's so simple. But we're only scalping for 8 to 10 ticks, and 70% of the time it's 10 ticks because the market will run right up and jam the price right into that 10 ticks. So let me go over, just for example, you know what, I don't know what day it is. I'm going to just randomly scroll back on my scroll bar down here. See that? And I'll do like a guy shuffling a cards. When these magicians come on TV, I like those shows. I always like the magicians. Harry Houdini, I used to study him as a kid, but they give you a deck of cards. Okay, shuffle the deck, right? So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm shuffling the deck. I have no idea what day this is or where we are. We start trading crude oil at 5:45 my time on this chart. The markets open at that's 8:45 New York. The markets, the New York Mercantile Exchange, opens at 9 o'clock. So just add 3 hours to my chart here. So at 5:45 is when we look for trade. Now there's nothing here because we haven't crossed that threshold and the market's spiking up. Now watch this. I'll do a real quick training with you. The way it works, we have the shaded areas, which are buy and sell channels. Each time a channel's opening up, which all you're going to see when it's opening is a candle with an arrow on it. You won't be able to see it until that. We follow it. The simple method is this, and I'll just push this forward because it's a mechanical method. There's nothing I can do to fudge on these charts or anything. If it's live and the price went up here and got stopped out, you'll see it on the chart. Because if it got stopped out, these will not turn green and move way up here, but then it'll end up looking like this. That's not going to happen. These are fixed. So once we get a sell channel, you can see an arrow here, you can see an arrow here, an arrow. Sometimes it's covered up by the dot, sometimes by the candle, but usually, now here's another arrow here. We get, first things first, we get an arrow opening a buy or sell channel. This is a sell channel. These are called the price pressure bands, something I invented. They kind of look like Bollinger Bands, but they're not. They're called price pressure bands. When these price pressure bands open, which means the dashed line crosses under the solid line, that's called the price pressure band is open on the downside. If they're open on the upside, this is an example here of before we opened, that we were trading the crude oil, the price pressure bands opened up here. You see that? And they stayed open all the way up to this candle here when they crossed under, but that's another issue. For now, so we ask, has a new candle opened with an arrow on it signifying a new sell channel in this case, and has the candle closed? We use a standard 450 tick chart on crude oil and all boomerang as a default number, and we have a tick measurement meter down here, so you can watch the ticks winding down as they're doing live right now, slowly but surely on the crude oil live market right now. When the tick closes, this will go to 0 and a new candle will be produced. We need to see the candle close and for that arrow to lock on it. Then we ask question number 1. After this has happened, question 1, have the price pressure bands open? Yes, they have. Question number 2, has the cobra, that's what I call this little colored line here, because it's like changing color, like a cobra changes its skin color sometimes before it sheds it. I've seen those traveling around the world, those cobras. Pretty amazing animal. But has the cobra crossed this orange filter line? See that thin orange line? That's a very sophisticated filter that we use that's not readily available in the standard indicators on the charting programs out there. Has this cobra tapped or crossed the orange filter? That's the second rule. Once those two conditions are set up, we have the final judge and jury of whether to take a trade, and that is called the dynamic trend bands. That's these bands right here. This is the faster one. This is dynamic trend band number 1, dashed and dotted, and the solid one, dynamic trend band number 2. Now, one of 3 conditions have to be met, and once you've seen this 2 or 3 times, you'll know it automatically. If you're writing it down now, that's fine. Or I'll direct you to a video where you can watch a tutorial on this. Plus, I'm recording this webinar. You can re-watch this as well. And all we're looking for, those 3 conditions, is have the dynamic trend bands we need them to cross under in the case of a sell channel and over in the case of a buy channel. So we're asking, are they within 2 ticks on crude oil of crossing over? And if I put my cursor up at the top one, you see that on the right side up there where I'm wiggling it there, 70-13 and 70-10. Well, that's a 3-tick spread. That's too wide. So have they squished together within 2 ticks? Are they matching the same color? In the case of a sell channel, is the bearish magenta color and the bluish azul color for the buy. Are they squished together within 2 ticks? Are they matching color, or indeed have they crossed over? One of the above, 2 of the above, or all the above. Any one of those will qualify us to do the next final step, which is trade a pullback to the signal line. Our entries are exact, crystal clear, measured on the signal line right here with these yellow or blue dots according to the system. So as of this candle right here, the dynamic trend bands were matching color and squished together by 2 ticks. Therefore, we would take the next pullback here, the next signal line pullback, which is 96. And 96 jumped a little bit, not much, just about 5 ticks. And then it got crunched. See that 96, and it dropped them right down to 81 in one fell move. It was literally, according to this chart, was a 2-minute move. That crude oil got traded, and that's a $500 or a $100 bill in your pocket. $500 if you trade 5 contracts, but $100 per contract. Clunk. There it is. That was a crunch. This is what I'm talking about. We work on one principle only, and I call that the market force principle. Now, some people may say, oh, that's momentum, or that's bias. Well, it's not really. The market force, I call it, it's kind of an umbrella over a combination of bias and momentum and any other words you can think of. But market force takes all these 4 key things I just mentioned to you. The price pressure bands opening, obviously the red candles, a new sell channel, that's part of the force. The first part of the force is a new sell or buy channel. Sell force and a sell channel, buy force and a buy channel. Duh. Shaded areas on the channel and matching red candles for sell, green candles for buy. Very, very simple. Boomerang's the easiest system to read, the most profitable that I've seen or ever heard of for my thousands of subscribers that I've invited over the last 18 years. I've been doing this so many times. Email me anything out there that you think makes more money than Boomerang, or that's even closely as good, or even if it's half as good. Send me anything. And I've looked at a lot of stuff. Nothing even compares. You can waste a lot of your time and money searching endlessly for the Holy Grail, listening to all this fancy talk by these fancy guys who got a lot fancier webinars and websites than I do. And you'll find out that the bottom line is our creed, and that is making money every day, or shall I say almost every day. Everything else, all the fluffy fancy crap, I'll tell you what, you can throw it, flush it down the toilet. Of course, I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't want to pollute the water system. I would say bury it in the backyard. Maybe that's a little better. You got to do something if you're going to throw something out. Put it in the trash. All that fancy crap that's not where the rubber meets the road. The rubber meets the road when you have a proven system that like this, where you can get in with an exact crystal clear method for entry. You get in the charts crystal clear. You get in an exact crystal clear spot that is alarmed and instantly marked on the chart. And of course, you have an exact crystal clear stop system. The first stop level of the stop system is, see this rim of the trade channel? Well, there are lines associated with that rim. I don't put them on. I like to keep them off. But you can actually add lines to these that are available on Boomerang. But that's your first point of defense, is the rim of the trade channel. So 96, and you can see 06, that's a little high. But what we do is we deploy the next price band. In this case was the Cobra. We'd be watching the Cobra and the rim of the trade channel if the price started shooting up there. And then we watch primarily the orange filter line, which will tend to follow the prices along with the rim of the trading channel. And in the last year that I recall, live in our room where we track this every day and trade it every day when we get an opportunity, and I'm not too busy with the mini NASDAQ chess game, we have not had any stop beyond 3 to 7 ticks. Maybe there is a 10 ticker in there somewhere, but I don't recall it. It's very rare. So you can trade Boomerang knowing that we're going to have an average of about 4 to 8 trades a day, and mostly 90% winners, many days, many days, 100% winners. And this trade, like I said, took 2 minutes. There was a little bit of pressure on the entry. 2 minutes later, that pressure is all over with a winning trade. And yeah, I know, they went all down here, and you think you would have held them down. Oh, no, you would have, I'm sorry. No, you would have, should have, could have, and did hold them all the way down here. which we know, you and I both know you didn't, because when you tried to do that, instead of taking the 10 ticks here, you got shaken out up here and you panicked and got out, especially when the candles changed green or whatever. You got out and then they collapsed, and then you tried to get back in, you got stopped out again, and you went, oh, it's getting away without me. You got back in again, got stopped out. And the end result, if you just followed Boomerang, you would have made 10 ticks here. There was no second level trade here, but we have very strict rules. So let me just go over this a little quicker. I've tried to give you some philosophy and understanding so it all makes sense. Our webinar here, the core of it, will be ending in about 5 minutes. So please pay attention. Just like when traders come in the room, I try to get them, don't feed your dog and multitask and get on the phone. You're just wasting your time. Get in the room and be ready for 2 hours of rock and roll action, and be willing to come home with a paycheck in the neighborhood of $500 to $1,000. If you're so brainwashed by all the trading stuff coming in your email box that you've given up trying to make money, and you just want to think it's like an exercise of intelligence or your brain, I can give you a lot more fun ways to exercise your brain. The best thing to do, join our room, come in there and make a paycheck, start making some money, and you'll be very, very happy that you did. Well, now we see here the same conditions are met with the crossover. So once that's there, you can just take the trade and up it goes. You see that? We've already got the first conditions. Even if they aren't met, we've already got the crossover dynamic trend bands, which is the final arbitrage. So that's already there, and up they go. Let me show you a couple others. No second level trade. I hope we get one so I can show that to you. A second level trade is where you get the pullback off the initial first level, where we get a print of a counter arrow. In this case, it'd be a sell arrow, locking down one of the candles. Then on the next buy candle and pullback signal line, we can take that trade immediately. I hope we get one. I don't know if we will or not. We get another situation where see the cross under the dynamic trend bands. They've already crossed under. What does that mean? Little quiz for you. That's right. When the arrow prints and a new sell channel opens, you've already got the confirmation. You got the cross undergoing. Here's the sell channel. The dynamic trend bands, or the price pressure bands are open. You go short here and straight down they go. Look at that market force. That's the market force on that side of the market. We pile as much of that as we can using my precision indicators, which are all very low cost, by the way. It's only a few of them, 2 or 3 of them. And with all that market force, which is what everything I have here is designed to read, you're going to get in that trade, and that's going to reduce your risk as much as possible, rather than just random winging a trade because you've got an intuition that it's going to go one way or the other, right? How many intuitions have we had about the markets? I read one famous floor trader. He was in that book about the market mavens or whatever it was, that famous book, and I read his thing. I forget which guy it was, but he said he calls intuition intuition. You gotta identify so-called intuition as, I call it guessing. Call a spade a spade. It's called guessing. Don't guess at the markets. Get Boomerang, come in the Day Traders Action Room and make winning trades with proven setups. Anyway, now here's a trade that didn't pan. There's nothing to do here. Even though this crossed over, when they run up this hard, it's one of the simple rules, and that we don't trade against a fat channel here. That's a fat channel. 3, 4, 5 spike candles moving up. We're not going to take that blue line pullback. That's not a trade according to our method. Now here what happened was there was no trade here, sad to say. That's because before we had a cross under of the DTBs or matching color or a squish together, the trade had just got slammed. This was a very fast, active day on the markets. Again, no trade here. What we do when we get a long extended move like this, we let the markets wiggle around. We do not take the first buy trade, but we just kind of sit and watch and let it wait until we get them further down here. Well, we finally had the crossover. Everything was all convoluted. You can see the whipsaw coming off this here. None of these were valid trades, but finally, and we know how to do that because we train this 3, 4, 5 times a day in the room. Everybody knows. And then they trade, and I get the emails saying, thank you, thank you. I paper traded for a few days. Today I had my first live day. I made 5 winning trades, and they're just like, I can't believe it. Like taking candy from a baby. I go, well, you're right, but don't let that stick in your mind, because trading, futures trading, is difficult. It's risky, and only risk capital should be used. But I do get those type of comments. Now here you got a sell arrow driving that price back into the sell bias. The price pressure bands up. Now here's a difference. Matching dynamic trend bands in the new sell channel. Go short at the market, down they come. That was the second winning trade of the day now. Unfortunately, they were a little spread apart. Or that was the third winning trade of the day. But that's only the first hour and 20 minutes of trading. No big deal. And then a minor move, small move. Now look what happens here. Prices shoot up, and that's true. That's creating a fat channel. So what we do then is, if they too much too fast, you just wait. Now we see the dynamic trend bands are matching color. The price pressure bands are open. So we're good to go. All we do is we tell ourselves we got the dynamic trend band condition. We just want a little bit of a discount on that price. We want to get in the trade. We just want a discount. So rather than taking 48, our normal thing we'll do is we'll default to the Cobra line, and there it is there at 41. Instead of using the trade signal line, we'll just use the Cobra, which is very reliable, and up they go for the 4th winning trade in a row. Again, no trade here. Their dynamic trend band number 2 still moving up. They haven't crossed under. They finally cross under here, and again, it's a hard, fast crunch to the downside and a bunch of whipsaw. No trade here, nothing to do. However, even though it's whipsawing around, just you stick to your guns, pay attention. Notice that they've crossed under. That means the sell bias is going to be coming into the market. With those DTBs crossing under, we get a whipsaw buy move up here. No trade there. Don't have anything to base on that trade. But then you get a sell channel coming in, and the dynamic trend bands are immediately matching color. You go short at 70. 70 drops right down to 50. Again, right at that 70 there. That was 9 o'clock and 26 seconds. They dropped down to 58 on this, that was literally less than a minute. You got your 5th $100 bill in your pocket minus the commish. Less than a minute. And that other one I showed you too. I didn't measure the others. Some of them took a little longer, like this Cobra one here. They pulled him back to the Cobra here at 40. Let's see how long that one took. 8:25, 57, 8:26, 41. Where's 51? It's right. Okay, 41, and then within this candle. So this one was took about under 2 minutes. That's called market force. And I know they continue. I don't care. I could care less, because what's proven is 10 ticks. Hanging on for more, I show you ways to do that in the room. If you want to try and hang out for more, you can. You can run trailing stops just to be real careful, or just use the Cobra as a trailing stop, or the trade signal line. I'm giving you the secrets right now. Watch the price pressure bands to run and run until they fold up, or they start to round out here. You get a wide fat channel there. All kinds of stuff if you're trying to hold for bigger. We teach all that in the room. Here's another. Oh, this is one I just showed you. Again, same thing. 2 minutes, you got the trade wrapped up. And the same thing repeated here. Dynamic trend bands cross over, a new buy channel. There's nothing to do in here. New buy channel, price pressure bands open, but it just leaped too far and too fast. So you deploy that, pull back to the Cobra, and again, up they go within, let's see, the Cobra level is 59. And so by 67 here, you had 8 ticks. We say 8 to 10 ticks, but you've waited to this candle. That trade was 43. Took about 7 minutes to wiggle its way up to 10 ticks. That's normal. You can wait that long, can't you? For $100. Because hey, with that $100, you can take the kids' soccer team out to pizza, be the cool dad, And then when some of the other dads show up there, you got a little extra money to buy them a couple beers or whatever. They're gonna go, whoa, whoa, kind of flashy today, aren't you, Johnson? You go, no, I had a good day. I was trading the markets, trading with Mohan and trading crude oil, which is always fun, little bragging rights, but nobody's gonna blame you if you're buying them a beer, right, or a piece of pizza. That's a way to win somebody's heart, right? Anyway, please give me a second level trade. Aha! Here we go. Second level trades. We only trade our 10 tick method, but we do have second level trades. Here's that first one I just talked about, deploying the Cobra. Here's a classic second level trade. The market, the dynamic trend band number 2 is pretty steep, rolling up. You get a counter reversal. You got some red candles and everything. You're already out of this trade with a $100 bill in your pocket on per contract. Now you get a counter channel and you got the arrow printing, and that candle's got to close. You got to get that arrow printing. You don't go short or anything. You just wait and see what happens. If everything drops to the downside, the DTBs cross over, you can do a sell trade, but you just wait, and then all of a sudden, most likely, the second level trade's going to come in. There's the new buy channel, and once you have a second level trade, you don't need any confirmation, even though you had the price pressure bands open up, matching dynamic trend. You buy a pullback signal line at 82 and at 34.5, and 82 jammed up to 98 in, again, 36, under 3 minutes on that trade as well. That's your 7th winning trade in a row. That's a classic second level trade, and boy, they're very reliable. We don't take third level trades. One didn't set up, but we don't take them. And that's it for the day on that. So that just gives you an idea. So I really thank you for watching the webinar today. We mostly focused on showing you the boomerang method on crude oil. I showed you my YouTube room to see lots of live trades if you want to watch that first. If you're a little more adventuresome, then just join the Day Traders Action live room just by going to daytradersaction.com. And like I said, you can join me here. I've done everything I can to show you that we're the real deal and that you can benefit tremendously from our services if you're a real trader, if you're not afraid to trade. If you're afraid to trade, there's really no point in joining the room and just watching. You can just watch my YouTube channel. I don't mind if you want to Jones on Mohan a little and watch his stuff. Watch the YouTube channel. Joining the room, though, it's a lot of work for me to sign somebody up. And if you're just not even taking it serious, not planning on trading, I don't need your $39. I'm only looking for serious traders who want to come in and join for a long time, months. Really learn about these markets. Learn from my daily narrative about the markets. Learn about the rigors and how you can trade these markets and understand what's really going on behind the scenes. So here's our creed here. Just remember that, and remember that we look to make 2 to 3 times the monthly cost you pay every day. So why would you even care about the monthly cost if you make 3 times, 5 times that every day? You see what I mean? So just keep that in mind. We're looking for serious traders, but I'd love to have you join the room and make some money with us. It's all we care about. So with that in mind, thank you very much, and have a good rest of the evening.